Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to MNW Firing Line, your guide to Multiverse Nexus Wrestling. I'm your host, Jerry Aldini, and with me, as always, is Pete McPherson.
Hello.
And what a night it is. We are going to close the final chapter tonight on this year's Multivania experience. That's right, we are going to cover Night 2 of Multivania, a event so big it took 2 nights just to recap it.
2 nights and 2 pre-shows.
So much happened. There was so much content. We did a calculation. Multivania weekend was 16 hours worth of content.
That's a lot of content.
It's a lot of content. And we are now happy to talk to everyone about it.
Indeed.
But first, there's a few things we should just get out of the way. Just there's an elephant in the room. We're going to address it. Then we're going to just ask it to sit in the corner for a while because we got work to do.
I mean, been pretty well behaved so far.
So, very simply, ladies and gentlemen, you've probably heard on the grapevine, there was a meeting recently of the brass after Multivania, and some decisions were made about the future of MNW. And one of those decisions was the brass decided they wanted Warzone to have a full-time general manager. And after much deliberation, they decided that general manager would be yours truly, Jerry Aldini.
You're the victim.
It was one of those, you get called into an office, and it's not the first time I've been called into the brass's office. Well, to be honest, usually I either have to just go talk to registered Anon or occasionally Lawson. But this time I was actually called into the brass directly. Now, it's a process. It turns out there's a lot of paperwork.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of paperwork I have to go. And the paper, I'm fine. Great paperwork. I've been signing paperwork all my life. But the one thing, I had, especially with Anon, I've been in his office off and on all week. And a lot of the forms I'm signing, and here's the thing. I make sure to read every form. I've been in this business a long time. I have been retaining the services of one Gordon Wheeler to make sure that all of my legal documentation is handled fine, and I'm not signing away anything I don't want to sign away.
Making sure all your I's are crossed and your T's are dotted.
Yeah, and making sure there's an anti-crumping clause in the contract. Yes. Although the one thing that did get, I feel the blood test was excessive, but Anon insisted.
Oh, vials, though.
Yeah, it was like, really? I don't usually give this much on a regular doctor's visit. Okay. I had to.
Some real nice cookies, though.
Really great cookies, and had to drink a lot of water the next few days. Yeah. So, anyway. So, yes, that is coming. Right now, it is unsure the official day I am fully taking over. I will say this. I will be joining Eric Generickson this Saturday on commentary duty. So
that's right. We can announce that folks, MNW's back.
Yeah.
The programming will be resuming its current normal schedule, and yeah.
And we have apparently we're getting a message on social media from Burnout Vaughn. Can't be too thorough when you already have had 2 clown invasions.
Fair.
He makes a good point. And to be fair, my original co-host on this show was a clown.
So I've been told.
Yeah, he is making a good point. And I'm also really great that he's able to actually tweet out more than just beep now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I hear the medical team's doing a great job. So with that, right, as Pete was saying, tomorrow night, Friday Night Flashbang returns at its regular time with Eric Jenerickson and Hey, Mr. Rabbit. And then on Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, it will be the return of MNW Warzone, where the commentary team will be, again, Mr. Eric Jenerickson and myself. We look forward to seeing you then. But enough about me, because right now, this isn't about me. Even when I take the job, it won't be about me. It's going to be about the wrestling. And with that, let's get into Multivania V, Day 2. And Day 2 kicked off on the kickoff show with a match that was very hastily put together. So taking you back to night 1. At the end of night 1, we learned some really disturbing news. And this is, we found out who has been responsible for many of the attacks against Flashbang staff and wrestlers. The attack on Nero Napier. The poisoning of Blight Hallis. The theft of La Luna El Chavo's mask. The running over of the Punk Master Ghost. The poisoning of Wiley. It was all the work of one person. After the investigation led by the Omni Geek, we now know it was Suicide Gemini. And upon learning that, originally Gemini had wanted a match with Wiley at Multivania, and Wiley had said no. But upon learning what had happened, the Dragonborn changed his mind and demanded a match against Suicide Gemini on the kickoff show. And this, we saw Gemini in this gear. This is new gear for Gemini. This is a new look for him.
Absolutely.
And we know a little of what's going on. Maybe something about he's looking to feel again.
Yeah, I'd say there's a
he's looking. It's hard to say what he's looking for. There's so many questions that need to be answered, and hopefully, I suspect the Omni Geek may eventually be able to shed some more light on motivation. But the biggest question I still have is, was there any complicity on the part of Samuel Manatee?
That is a very big question mark right now.
Huge question, because the man feeds the whole crew.
We're going to have to. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about the recent poisonings, and we can only assume that was perhaps the methodology that Gemini used.
I mean, otherwise, how do you get close enough to people like Blight Howless that he doesn't see it coming? But you cover it up in enough spices, sure, even a sensitive snout like his won't pick it up. But that's an answer I want. Hopefully Manatee will give us a yay name, maybe as early as tomorrow night.
Almost 2 years.
We are hearing from Omni Geek. He is saying Gemini's new look invokes stories his grandfather told him as a kid.
I don't think he was this brutal with Blight Hallis.
But now I'm also watching, as you see this match, Wiley has always been a strong competitor. He is the first person to ever pin or submit Blight Howless. But even then, I don't think we saw him as brutal as we are right now. Not even when he had his title match against Nero Napier. He has never looked this aggressive, ever.
And Wiley frustrated. He wants to humiliate Gemini.
So I guess it makes sense. There's more at stake. I mean, it's one thing to have a competitor. It's another thing to face somebody who intentionally put you in the hospital.
Busted him open. Yep.
And I'll tell you, as from my own history in the squared circle, there's a lot of things that the boys and girls of wrestling will put up with. But one thing that is off the table is somebody going into the ring with the intention of hurting you, of putting you on the shelf.
Gemini coming with the victory.
But here, satisfaction was not to be the Dragonborns.
I don't see
with
any,
Suicide Gemini coming out with the win.
I
don't know, maybe he's finding what he's looking for.
This in the future.
I hope maybe we'll learn something more tomorrow night. One can only hope. So that was the kickoff show, and it was a great match, but so many unanswered questions.
Obviously, there were other matches on the pre-show, and you can check these matches out by going and checking out the MNW YouTube channel and seeing them all for yourself.
That's right. We had matches from UCW, and we were joined on commentary by the UCW announcer, 11, who then also, when he was done with us, 11 put in a lot of work on day 2. Because not only did he join us for the 2-hour kickoff show, he joined Genericson for the rest of Multivania on commentary.
That is correct.
So good work, 11. I hope you're comfortable back on the moon. I remember you were saying the Earth gravity was kind of weirding you out. So I hope you're comfortable. I hope everything's going great. Meanwhile, let's get into the actual kickoff of Multivania proper, day 2. And we kicked off with a Warzone showcase match featuring Beowulf, who made a very interesting promo on it, Constantinople from Hell's Kitchen, from Chained Hell, Daggerick, I guess I've got Hell's Kitchen on my mind. Juan Chance, Nakano
Kirishima.
Yep, well, I'm getting it down. I got. If I'm going to be his general manager, I got to know these things. Power Surge, Sergeant Major Payne, and in a surprise to everyone, returning from Friday Night Flashbang, Shere Khan, his first match in almost a year.
That's almost a full year.
Yeah, we have not seen him since he was brutalized in ring by Kevin Blackwell, including Blackwell ripping his mask off his face, leaving the King of the Jungle vulnerable as he tried to protect his face. Incident led to his hospitalization and months of mocking by way of Jack the Questionable, who we will see his comeuppance on that later tonight.
That we will.
And with this, the first elimination was, of course, Juan Chance.
Correction. The first one eliminated was Constantinople.
You're right. I got the masks confused.
After that is One Chance, I believe, is going to be next.
Is here, yes. I knew he was early.
Oh, yeah.
I suppose I need to remember as an incoming general manager, I have to be impartial in making decisions. Well, in the meantime, you have this still a stunning array of impressive talent from the Warzone roster. The Dagger going after the apprentice of Trashman Jones, Power Surge. You have the King of the Jungle, Shere Khan, taking down the delinquent San himself and eliminating Kirishima. Meanwhile, you have Beowulf going after Sergeant Major Payne. And I think we have finally established his rank is Sergeant, his first name is Major.
Parents must have thought it'd be real funny.
Well, or they were... I can only imagine why you would name your son something like Major. But with that, unfortunately, that led the Sergeant to tapping out to Beowulf. Meanwhile, Power Surge making a comeback against the Dagger Daggeric. And the Dwarven Prince finds himself eliminated, only to face the Living Myth.
The ultimate underdog, the little man, the smallest guy in this match.
We're still unclear if he is an heir to the mantle of Beowulf, if he's actual Beowulf. So many questions. But of course, the returning...
we will have to see what happens in the future.
We will. Shere Khan landing a Tiger Bomb on Power Surge.
Another Tiger Bomb.
And it makes me wonder, I mean, this is a Warzone-centric showcase, but Shere Khan's a flashbang wrestler, so I'm assuming... I'll have to look at the book. I haven't actually checked the book on this yet. I'm assuming that anything from this would be added to his flashbang record.
That would make sense to me, I believe.
Yeah, treating it like a crossover match.
Sure.
Now, of course, you have Beowulf, who has already won a showcase match, is one of the 4 showcase winners already over on Warzone. And with that, Shere Khan, his first match back, secures the victory.
That's a hell of a comeback.
And it's a comeback for the King of the Jungle. I will assume we are going to be seeing him back on Friday Night Flashbang.
I'm receiving word from the back that they're saying that for a short period, Shere Khan did actually wrestle on Warzone, so he could have a split record.
Interesting. All right, well, we'll have to follow up on that. Meanwhile, hang on a moment. I'm getting a note from Phyllis. We have a caller on the line relevant to the match we just watched. So, and maybe a chance to get some answers. Ladies and gentlemen, on the phone with us now is the man, the myth, the legend, Beowulf.
Good evening, Jerry.
All right, Beowulf. I asked the question during the segment, but you're here now. I can ask you directly. Are you the heir to the mantle of Beowulf? Are you the actual ancient hero Beowulf? Are you simply invoking the myth? What's the story, sir?
I am Beowulf incarnate. I am the hero that you've read the stories of.
Okay, so are we talking immortality, reincarnation, time travel?
Reincarnation, to be more exact.
All right, there we go. That's a solid answer. I like that. Okay, we can work with that, sir. All right, so Beowulf, your Multivania debut, you made it to the number 2 slot in the showcase matchup, which, as we have seen week after week, no small feat. So, how are you feeling about that, especially losing to a legend like Shere Khan?
Oh, I don't know. I'm a little bit angry, you could say. The moment the brass decided to add Shere Khan to that match, they effectively ripped away something. They ripped away my deserved victory.
Fair enough. Well, what are you looking for then? I mean, at this point, there have been a total of 8 showcase matches on Warzone. You won the first. No one has won 2 yet. Looking at the book, which is fortunately the production staff has supplied to me, Shere Khan's win is being tallied as a Warzone win. And I can tell you personally, as your incoming general manager, that the showcase matches are going to remain a feature on Warzone. What are you looking for, sir? Are you looking to continue to make a name for yourself there, or do you have any other goals?
All I'm looking to do is to get owed for what I have done for all of you people. I was once called a hero, but given circumstances, I feel like I haven't been owed enough.
Well, there we have it. Well, we'll have to see what form that takes then. Sir, we are pressed for time, so I think, is there any last statements before we thank you and move on?
All I have to say is, this tale is not the end.
Very well. Well, thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, that was the legend incarnate, Beowulf. Well, Pete, it's time to move on. And as packed a show as Multivania, there are matches where you go, well, where can they put so many of these matches with such big stakes? And in some cases, some of the big matches are right at the top of the card. And with that,
I mean, these matches are all important to each member individually. So
it's true, and so many of them have repercussions. Now, I was personally surprised when the decision was made to put this particular match so early, but on the other hand, sometimes you have to get stuff out of the way. You have to know where things stand. And by that I mean, Pete, it's time for War Games.
Let's get to it.
All right, so the stipulation for this match: 4 members of the Empire of Terror, 4 members of Fate. Whichever team loses War Games is mandated to break up, and whoever is captaining the team will be shipped off to Warzone. Ladies and gentlemen, the teams for the Empire of Terror: Aurelian Starhand, Lord V and the Cleaver, the Abyssal Void, and the team captain, Earl King West, the leader of the Empire himself. For Fate, Johann Mjoln and Tiki the Troll Train, the Sandman of House Caliban, and team captain, Artemis, the Apprentice Omnislayer. And right off the bat, it is, you see how the breakups go. Johann going after the Cleaver, Tiki going after Lord V, Sandman going after Earl King West himself, and Artemis initially going after Starhand. But it's a War Games match, and that means you're going to change partners several times. It is elimination. And you've got a Calf Crusher from Tiki on Lord V. And that's it for the Voidwalker. The first blood goes to Fate. But wasting no time, the Empire starts going after Fate members, trying to even the odds, ensuring that they will not be the team that has to break up. That's a lot of people to break up if that's the Empire.
Absolutely.
Key Empire members aren't in this match. You have no Simon. You have no Grim Reaper. They're involved in other matches.
Exactly.
But then it gets all tied up when the Cleaver eliminates the Sandman. So now, 3-on-3, you still have the Troll Train, and then Dark Lord Popo comes out. Dark Lord Popo of the Empire of Terror had recently been defeated by the Creation to earn a match for the Creation later in the evening against the Beast Highrolled. But Henry Colt, who we haven't seen in months after being put in the hospital by the Empire, out of nowhere taking down Dark Lord Popo, ensuring that there will not be interference in this match. And a huge return for the Colt Classic.
I was wondering what the hell that music was.
Absolutely. And normally you might think that it'd be hard to get into the cage of that there, but if you're Dark Lord Popo, maybe not so hard.
Yeah.
So let's not take that chance.
No, not at all. And I'm glad to see that Henry Colt was ready, because I'm sure everyone anticipated potential shenanigans. It's the Empire. It's Wes. And with that, and a Hunter's Lock later, and the Cleaver is gone. So the Cleaver's out of there, and that leaves just the Fey King and the Rogue Trader for the Empire.
about how bad the Troll Train wants to beat the hell out
But
of
knowing
Earl
that,
King.
again, this puts them at a deficit,
Meanwhile, they don't see Starhand
Starhand takes advantage of a moment's distraction by the Troll Train
Johan, turn
and
around.
goes after
No,
Artemis, the team captain,
Johan! 2
at a 3 count later, and it's 2-on-2.
has been eliminated.
It is the Troll Train
Johan with blood
versus
inside the Troll Train with eyes first.
the
Earl King
King of
only.
Kings and the Rogue Trader. Now, reminder, Tiki the Troll has been on the shelf for almost a year due to being poisoned by Earl King Wes. This and Johan submitted himself to working for the Empire in exchange for a cure, which never came. Graven had to do it. And Tiki, in his rage, takes out Aurelian Starhand, helping getting measure of retribution against the Empire. But then, while Johan is stunned on the mat, he finds himself alone against Earl King Wes, the man who poisoned him. And maybe it's the emotion, maybe Wes realizes he's in trouble. He gets an elimination on Tiki the Troll, and it comes down to this. The Son of Thunder versus the Fey King. Johan Mjoln versus the man who subjugated him, humiliated him and his wife. And 2 Ragnaroks in a row on the Fey King. And 1, 2, 3, Johan Mjoln destroys the Empire of Terror. The Empire is no more, and they can look at that man as the architect of their final demise. And those 4 men as the ones that did the job, that realized the mission of fate. Flashbang against the Empire lived up to its name, and the Empire of Terror is no more, and Earl King Wes is shipped off to Warzone. Which means he's my problem now, Pete.
Yeah, sure does.
That was, when the decision was going down right after Multivania, it was like, oh, okay, and then going over the roster paperwork, and I realized, oh.
Yep.
Yeah. And since I'm going to be making a lot of the booking decisions, that means that he's probably going to be knocking on my door a lot. If anyone knows any good ways to, what does one put into a spray bottle if they want to make the Fae go away? I assume iron filings.
Sure.
I'm sure there's something
We'll
else.
go with
I'll talk. You know what? I'll have a sit down with Mike Davis before too long and find out what's good for that. Anyway, with that, as we said, the realization of all the work that Fate has been putting in. Now, here's my question, Pete. It's a simple question.
Mm-hmm.
Fate was an acronym. Is an acronym. It stands for Flashbang Against the Empire. It was a name chosen by Jagger Blackthorn when the members that would form Fate came together to answer Dr. Caliban's call. Are they going to change their name? Are they going to change the acronym? Are they going to change what?
Because right now they're just fat.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's no good.
Flashbang against the.
I mean,
we don't know.
Because if they go after Apex, that's Fada.
Here I am at Camp Granada.
And we already have, AAA, Animals Against Apex, so that becomes redundant. I'm just saying somebody needs to do some workshopping. That's all. Maybe we put a poll into the field.
That's something that we can start looking into.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, maybe that's something you can start looking into. You do realize what my promotion means, right?
Sure.
Okay, well, what does it mean?
I don't know. I'm repressing it. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah. Yes, Pete. I talked to the brass. You've got the experience. It's you're going to be taking over as the lead commentator for Firing Line.
Oh, I see. We have a suggestion here: flashbang against really terrifying evil dudes. Wait.
That I don't think that no. Yeah, that doesn't seem. You know what? Let's move on. Let's not be worrying about future job postings or taking over or what the any groups are going to end up being called. Because we still have a lot of matches to cover, including, hey, it's time for the night's first title defense. The Warpgate Hardcore Championship with former tag partners McMorgan and Gingerboy.
Wow, that didn't take long.
Apparently Gingerboy,
No, he is not.
apparently there was some bad blood between those two.
Did not waste any time.
No. And took advantage of the fact that this is the hardcore championship, falls count anywhere and anywhere. And so they
Get started early.
yeah, they wasted no time getting backstage and but even that, you had Gingerboy going right after McMorgan. The problem is Gingerboy needs to remember McMorgan has had the hell beat out of him before. He's been there, he's done that. And he's ready to have a brawl. And also willing to go and get the equipment. I'm trying to think of, yes, for the long time when Trashman Jones held the Warpgate Hardcore Championship, his go-to weapon of choice was the stairs. But when you look at a true Scotsman, he's going to look at things like, Hammer's going to make it, it's like, yeah, I used to throw these as a child. So it's like, they're like very small cabers. And whereas Gingerboy, not as much of a weapon user, although as he's showing here capable. Got to remember that Gingerboy has that MMA background. So it's the Highlander versus the Mad Lad of London. Which, when you think it's the English versus the Scottish. We really should have seen this coming.
Yeah, it's bound to happen at least once or twice every couple of years, I guess.
Yeah. And with that, after that brutal driver, McMorgan emerges victorious. McMorgan is your Warpgate Hardcore Championship. His first taste of gold in Multiverse Nexus Wrestling. And I think if we can expect anything, it's McMorgan's going to be a fighting champion.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
might even fight things unrelated to the championship.
Just getting into fights, sure. Wow. I'm going to need to check up with Kelly to find out if there's any rules in Omega Pub about attempted pinfalls. We're not. Okay, I'm going to say this right now. I have no personal intention of making the Warpgate Hardcore Championship a 24/7 championship, because that's just madness. But
possibly copyrighted.
Yeah, very possibly. Plus, you know what? The refs deserve their time off. Our ref staff works really hard.
We not to mention we don't exactly have the most abundance of them.
We got a couple.
It's not the most popular job.
No. Well, yeah. The number of times they get knocked cold, sure. It's a lot more. Refs get knocked out a lot more than in my day. Back when I was wrestling full time, you maybe saw a ref get knocked out 3 or 4 times a year. Now it seems like 3 or 4 times a night.
Yep.
So
the times they are a changing.
It's just, it's yeah, it is what it is, I suppose. But either way, McMorgan, your Warpgate Hardcore Championship. And now, so earlier tonight, we saw the return of Shere Khan. And as we'd mentioned, he had spent a lot of his time while he was recovering being mocked by Jack the Questionable, who initially was coming out in Shere Khan's actual mask before the Bulldog managed to recover it. And then he was coming out in a replica of Shere Khan's mask. And then he started coming out in replicas of other luchador masks until he was reminded.
And other luchador masks that had the history of being forcefully taken.
Well, he started out with DeLuna, but then he came out one night in El Pollo's mask.
Well, yeah, that's right.
And that was the mistake. Because Jack forgot he owed favors to all of AAA. And so that favor was brought due as we're about to watch a 3 versus 3 elimination match featuring Jack the Questionable wearing an outfit specifically chosen for them by El Pollo de la Muerte. Are you ready?
Roll that beautiful beam footage.
All right. So, of course, he will find himself facing DeLuna 13, the Bulldog, Grant Martin, and their third partner. Well, they're supposed to be a third partner, but all of a sudden, here's Jack coming out in an outfit. He looks like he's wearing an assemblage of items from the cart of Zach DeWeaver, but joined by Red Star Roman and Kevin Blackwell. So at least he picked his team well, I suppose.
Yeah, it just looked like the team ran him through a merch cart.
Well, because let's see, that's Mr. Rabbit's mask. That looks like a replica of Kath Gina Wings. That is the alternate leotard of Fuck Kim Wang. Not sure about the gloves, but yeah, no, it's...
Man's a walking smorgasbord.
He is. I'm sure Zach DeWeaver was really happy for the advertising.
He's tapped out DeLuna with this move before.
And there goes Blackwell attempting. Now, as had been stated, he had been tapped out before by that move by Blackwell. There was a long history between Kevin Blackwell and DeLuna 13. Also between Blackwell and the Bulldog. So both these guys would like nothing better than just to beat the hell out of the modern-day Gladiator. A man who is very rarely known defeat. But getting pulled into a Gladiator stretch by DeLuna, and that's it for Blackwell. And now he has to face the Merc. The one, the only, Jack the Questionable.
Yeah, with that poetic justice using Blackwell's own move to pin him.
I mean,
or just get him to submit.
You got to appreciate it. I mean, that's a way to flex on someone. And with that, Bulldog's out. Now it's a handicap match. Now it's DeLuna versus both Red Star Roman and the one and only Jack the Questionable. But DeLuna gets the job done, at least on Roman. And now it's a one-on-one match. Bit of a grudge match.
One-on-one, but we still do not know whatever came of that third member.
That third partner, no. And then you get a pinfall. DeLuna gets
I guess we'll find out
match.
now.
Yeah, looks like Team Jack the Questionable won. And then...
Well, that's what we thought.
And then it turns out, surprise, there was a third member of their team. And
There he is.
And I promise you, it's the last person I ever thought would be siding with Bulldog and DeLuna. It's Simon the Psycho.
Yep.
You know, I expected a lot of things. But I guess maybe, you know, let's put it this way. Maybe Simon saw the writing on the wall and realized there was no way the Empire was going to win that War Games match. that too many people basically just wanted to murder Wes and decided cutting. Because I'll say this. You know, usually people give crap to somebody if they're cutting and running from a team when it's sinking. But when that team is the Empire of Terror, all you can really say is, no, fair. Well done, even.
Point taken.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you'll quit the Empire of Terror, about time. So. Now, with that, oh, hang on, I'm getting a word from Phyllis. We've got a caller on the line. Hello, who do I have on the phone?
Hello. We thought we'd grace you with our presence a little.
All right, well, understand, we're tight on time, Simon, so let's go ahead really quick. Let's see. Yeah, just go ahead and explain this real fast. What happened? Okay, first off, am I right? Did you see the writing on the wall for the Empire?
Perhaps it was a little predictable. There have been many issues with the Empire lately.
Fair enough. So how did you, of all people, hook up with DeLuna and Bulldog?
Would you believe they came to us?
No, not really. It just seems inconceivable. But if you say so, all right.
In a way, yes, we approached them first, but it was quite some time ago. DeLuna refused our offer before, but then, surprisingly enough, decided later to take us up on our offer again.
All right. And now you're calling yourself the Honored, is that correct?
We are called the Honor Bound, yes.
Ah, great. All right, well, as I said, we don't have a lot of time because we still have a lot of show to get through. So, really quick, Simon, any last words you have for the audience?
Apart from what our pack kin have said, we do have one other thing to address to the other competitors that have been voicing their concerns relating Gemini.
All right, you got less than 30 seconds. Go.
Of course, it's very simple. Wait your turn.
All right, fair enough, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. From Simon the Psycho. Thanks, Simon, and we'll guys see you tomorrow night on Flashbang. All right, moving right along. Let's see, we have, well, the next one, sticking with the Flashbang side of the house, the Flashbang tag titles. Now,
yes,
let's take you back to Multivania 4, when the Bone Warriors took the tag titles off of the Empire of Terror. Funny how things come full circle like that. And in that year, the Bone Warriors have been one of the most dominant tag teams Multiverse Nexus Wrestling has ever seen, leading to the question, who could possibly beat them? Well, the decision was made. It would be a 4-on-4 tag team match featuring the Guild, the Mad World, Apex, and yes, that is Crimson Phoenix and Revolos, against Spike and Burden, the Bone Warriors, your 1-year tag team champions. So, Zach DeWeaver and the Curator representing the Guild, of course, Mad Jester Fool and the Madness representing Mad World, Phoenix and let's face it, that is an impressive look.
absolutely.
And then Revolos, Return to Monkey.
Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing here in our notes that this pairing, apparently inside of Apex, they wish to be referred to as Primal Heat.
Primal Heat, well, very appropriate. Yeah, solid name. Yeah, a lot of teams are coming forward, making sure their names are known, getting in the book, as it were. This one, I mean, looking at just all these, I mean, everyone has to be worried about the Bone Warriors where they're in this one. They have been dominant for a year. They have gone up against so many varying and powerful teams. Many of these teams already having had individual shots previously in one form or another. But here, I mean, you've got, let's see, in this match, you've got a zombie. You've got the celestial being that is Burden. You have a phoenix. You have a gorilla. You have an orc. You have another form of undead in Madjester Fool. You've got whatever Madness is, and you've got an intergalactic adventurer in the Curator.
Well, and you say that, but the thing is that you also have an 1 year long tag team champs.
An absolute record. An absolute record that any tag team is going to be hard pressed to try and beat. And that's just my first thought is, what's next? Regardless of what the outcome of this match, it's just, where do you go? And as we see here, you have a very near fall by Spike on the Madness. Just once again showing how dangerous, how strong a tag team the Bone Warriors are. But in the meantime,
absolutely, even in these odd matchups, even with the disadvantage of not being required to be the pin E,
it's true.
They could lose this without losing it.
I mean, that's true, and that's always going to be a risk in any kind of matchup. These, I'll tell you from personal experience, these are the worst kind of matches to be in if you're holding the strap. And here, in this case, you have the Mad World pulling out the victory. And thus, the Bone Warriors' year-long reign comes to an end. It is now the reign of Mad World, which, you know, it'll be interesting to see what comes from their reign. It'll also be very interesting to see what's next for the Bone Warriors. So that will definitely going to be paying close attention to this one and seeing where it goes. But congratulations,
really a mad world,
to MJF and the Madness.
I might even say it's a mad world.
Yeah, oof. Love that film. All right.
Me too.
And, well, now, there's been, you know, earlier in the evening, we saw the Fate deliver the fatal blow to the Empire of Terror. But it turns out there's one last little matter for the Empire to be settled before we can totally close the book on them. And that,
I know, nail in the coffin.
Yeah, and very appropriately so, because it involves events that started at Breakdown 1. We have been dealing with well over a year and a half. And that is the question of the creation and his months-long ordeal, having his body violated, having the brain of the beast high-rolled put in his body, and then that body being used as a tool by Earl King West and the Empire. The creation won the right, after defeating Dark Lord Popo, to face the risen beast in combat. Now, here's a question, and this question has been asked many times, including Eric Jenerickson asked it that very night. The creation's body had the beast's brain put in it. After the brain was stolen back by Alexis Edmonton in a coordinated effort with Graven, Christopher Caliban's body and brain were reunited. But the same evening he came back into action, this creature, this version of Highrolled came into the ring to help destroy the Republic. But the brain of Highrolled still sits in pieces in Dr. Caliban's lab. Whose brain is in that body?
That is the big question mark in this match.
Yeah. But either way, the creation looking for perhaps to put his ghosts to rest, to gain a measure of redemption against the Empire. Also, he made some cryptic comments about suspicions about whose brain was in that body, and that if it's who he thought, that his satisfaction would be doubled.
Palpable.
And what would that mean? What were his suspicions? And with that, also, though, this is still the Beast Highrolled, the monster of Dark Lord Prinny, a multiversal variant of Lade Highrolled, the French-Canadian daredevil of Warzone. Believe me, if there was somebody watching this match with great interest, I assure you it was Lade Highrolled. Who probably
I have a question. Okay. Now that obviously this match is over, is that we unless after this we no longer see the Beast.
Well, we know
we still have two masks now in circulation, not just one.
Well, it's true, but what is the nature of the? I mean, we know the original mask adorns Dark Lord Popo. But after this match, the creation dragged the body of Highrolled out of the arena and presumably to his father's laboratory. So whatever that mask is currently in the possession of Dr. Caliban. And we would presume that Caliban has sussed out the mystery of the identity of whoever that actually was. In fact, I've been hearing rumblings we might hear as early as tomorrow night some information clearing up some of these mysteries.
Well, we'll just have to tune in tomorrow night to find out.
We will. That is, ladies and gentlemen, reminder again, after the hiatus post-Multivania, tomorrow night, MNW returns to action, and in an exciting note, as was laid out by the lawyer of the brass, Mr. Lawson, audiences are going to be returning to the arena. That's right. If you've got a vaccination card, you can buy a ticket to Friday Night Flashbang. The crowds are coming back. Everyone's excited. I hear that it is a sold-out show for tomorrow night. And that we're looking forward to. It's going to be an exciting night. And yeah, maybe we'll learn. There's so many questions. Are we going to hear the mystery of the Beast Highrolled? Are we going to learn more about the mystery of Hell's Kitchen? What happened with Suicide Gemini? What's going on with Samuel Manatee? Who knows? We'll turn in tomorrow night, and you might find out. But with that was, while that was satisfying, it's time for our next title defense. And let me tell you, this has been an exciting one. There has been so much surrounding it. It is time for the Trios title match, where we are going to see the Animals Against Apex AAA taking on the Trios champions, Doom. So, Tora Azul, the Demolition Fox, and Sheepy taking on Michael Macabre, the Night Reaper Zericus, and the Mad Pumpkin King Mad Jack. And we already know from night one, whoever wins this match will, on a future episode of Friday Night Flashbang, face VIP. So the very team that Doom took the belts off of have earned the opportunity to get retribution and perhaps get their belts back. And so now, when you watch this match, Pete, what are you thinking? Because, you know, usually you're like, oh, well, it's Doom. They're some of the most powerful and accomplished wrestlers. But then you watch a team like AAA. I mean, yeah, you've got the Mad Pumpkin King, but then you've got Sheepy.
That's a lot of wool.
That's a lot of wool, and let's remember, Sheepy is no ordinary bipedal sheep.
Absolutely not.
He is, in fact, I guess the proper term I've heard is Tulpa. He is a child's imaginary friend who the child believed in him so much that Sheepy was willed into existence.
Then does this now have the Ted twist where it's like, oh, okay, well, what happens 20 years later?
I think and the answer is he becomes a professional wrestler.
And unfortunately loses to Doom.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, it is Doom. I mean,
this time around.
There's no shame.
Nope. None at all.
No. I mean, Doom, as we've said, are they are the original Flashbang tag team. Literally. First ever tag match on Friday Night Flashbang was a trios match featuring Doom. They won. So.
Yep.
That
they did.
They did. And, you know, you've got to wonder if they're looking at, they have the trios belts. You know, if they hold on to them, great. If they don't, Mad World, watch your back, I guess, would be the thing I would say.
That's fair assessment.
Because, you know, got to be careful, especially if don't. You know what? We're going to leave that because there's other things. There's other things we're going to have to look at tonight. We are nowhere near done, folks. No, night 2 of Multivania was quite the evening. And so, with that, this next match, I guess it's a grudge match? And those, I mean...
That is my understanding. We don't know too much about it, but apparently there is some sort of an animosity between these two.
So, from all I can tell, the Omni Geek was hired by Mr. Lawson to investigate the various attacks on Friday Night Flashbang. Who ran over Nero Napier? Who poisoned Blight Howless? Who poisoned Wiley? Who ran over Punk Master Ghost? Who stole the mask of La Luna El Chavo? And the OmniGeek went through many people, went for a lot of questioning. He did eventually discover that it was Suicide Gemini, but in the process, one of the people he wanted to interview was one Lionel Matrix, and apparently the way that went down, well, it just didn't sit well with the advocate of Nodia. And thus, after what he felt was a disrespectful display from the OmniGeek, we end here with Lionel Matrix versus the OmniGeek wearing his Street Patrol gear. I guess people have been wondering, what is the OmniGeek? Deep down, now I guess we know.
I guess so.
He's our own resident superhero.
Certainly carries himself with that demeanor.
Which you look at Warzone, they've got Daverman and Sparrow, and it's always good to have a superhero. Now we do have our henshin hero, the Brawl Kaiser, much like Warzone has Mega Blitz, and it looks like he is he's very much a investigative and gadgeteer style superhero. Would be where I would take it now. And with that, he is definitely taking it to the relative newcomer, Lionel Matrix.
Let's see if he's able to land it this time.
I think
he is not holding anything back.
No, not at all. And it's at this point, it's again, we've said it.
Trapped in the corner.
The actual question has been settled.
Good off the top.
We know what happened. The OmniGeek did his job. He solved the mystery. And for his trouble, I mean, this match was originally supposed to be night 1, to my understanding. But the OmniGeek was found laid out unconscious backstage. It turns out from an attack by Suicide Gemini.
Same Matrix into the ropes.
Now, he was cleared by Dr. Caliban for competition on night 2. Thus, we get this match.
Yep.
It's been a hell of a match.
And both are showing, I mean, this is, I think, probably,
Coming up next, folks.
I won't even say probably, this is definitely the best in-ring performance we've seen from both competitors.
Oh, sure. Oh, we've got to see a lot of acrobatic moves from OmniGeek, which was very impressive to see.
It almost, I'm beginning to feel like OmniGeek was just holding back up till now.
It's quite possible.
Maybe he was just waiting to pick his moment to show what he's really capable of. Either way, well, again, no shame on Lionel Matrix. He went for it. He showed a lot of skill and determination. But in the end, it's the OmniGeek is the winner. Is it fair to call him the hero of Flashbang?
I don't know. Time will tell with that. I think.
Okay. Now I'm looking forward to the inevitable crossover team up with the Sentinels. I mean, you got to admit. I mean, that's got to happen.
It'd be interesting to see.
It absolutely would. Well, so from one grudge match to another.
A lot of grudges being settled at Multivania.
Well, and it's interesting because this next match. So last year at Multivania, one of the big matches was the Empire of Terror versus the Republic, with the stipulation that whichever team lost would have to break up and their assets turned over to the winning team. And, of course, as we know, the Republic is the team that came up short. And that broke something in Sir Uncle Dunk. And Uncle has walked down a very dark path since then. Since his return to Warzone, he's managed through various nefarious means regain his riches. And in one of his most heinous acts, he bought the Children's Hospital that was the place where Maximilian Thunderthighs worked with the kids and started driving it into the ground, which led to
eventually
a challenge.
Became renamed to the St. Uncle Dunk's
St. Uncle
Hospital.
Dunk's Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
And, well, we won't go into all the details. Suffice to say, a match was set up by Mr. Lawson himself. Team Maximilian versus Team Uncle Dunk. And whoever wins, if Max's team wins, he gets control of the hospital and can try and set things right. And if Uncle wins, it's a very sad time for the children. So let's see who each team is. Starting with, of course, Thunderbunga, Maximilian Thunderthighs, and Unga Bunga. Teaming with the Republic, Probanaga and Sir McCheese. But they face Sir Uncle Dunk and Mr. Butler, who we now know known as Blood Money. And the Outlaws, Theron Eldrazi and CJR Killer.
That's about right. Yep.
And it starts out with Unkley and Max, and yeah, well, let's be honest. How else was it going to start out? And as it goes on, you see the caveman Unga Bunga getting a suplex pin on Theron Eldrazi, but distracted by Mr. Butler, which point Theron returns the favor, stealing Sir McCheese's finishing move, Sword in the Stone, to put down the caveman Unga Bunga, and thus secure the first elimination of the match. And in a Canadian Mountie rage, Maximilian Thunderthighs comes after the outlaw Theron Eldrazi, and just...
We're going to get some revenge for the loss of his Canadian comrade.
Is Unkley a Canadian caveman?
Unga? We believe that, Max believes that Unga is Canadian.
Okay. Either way, Max eliminates Theron Eldrazi, and then Sir McCheese and Probanaga in the ring, with Probanaga looking to take out CJR Killer, the person that was hired by Suicide Gemini to steal the mask of the Luna's father and drive the car that ran over Punkmaster Ghost. And here we go. Two men, Probanaga, Sir Unkley Dunk, former comrades in arms, former teammates in the original Republic.
There's that money clip.
And the money clip on Probanaga. And again, Sir Unkley Dunk holds so much rage towards his former emperor. But speaking of somebody who holds a lot of rage, Maximilian Thunderthighs against Unkley Dunk for what he's done to the children. And thus, Unkley Dunk is out of the match. This takes us to a 2-on-2 matchup. Here's one you never want to see. The purest boy you could ever hope for, Sir McCheese, against, well, Mr. Butler, a man who will beat people up over delivering the wrong anime to him. But then you have CJR Killer eliminating Sir McCheese. And that's it. It comes down to CJR Cash Job Repeat Killer versus Maximilian Thunderthighs. But Max is there for the children.
For the kids. For that hospital, for that children's hospital.
And one max damage later, and a 3 count, and Maximilian Thunderthighs saves the hospital. So now I guess this begs the question: does this mean the hospital goes back to its original owners, or is we can hang on a second? Let me.
Yeah. Does Max now own a hospital?
Yeah, Phyllis, can we? Oh, Phyllis. Oh, she was anticipating. Hang on. Let's see if we can find out. All right, the phone's ringing.
Hello.
Hello, Maximilian Thunderthighs. It's Jerry Aldini from Firing Line.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you doing tonight?
We're doing great. So Max, we were just reviewing your match from Multivania.
Oh, yes, that. If I had a word for it right now, after all the crap that I was put through Unkley and all the betrayals and lies that he put down and threatening my family, pinning him and the outlaws was cathartic. That's the word I'd use.
That's great. So, Max, we have a question.
Yes.
Does this mean you actually own the hospital yourself now?
That's correct, actually. To be honest with you, after the match, I was so busy because Lawson basically pulled me into an office and I spent the rest of Multivania just doing paperwork. I haven't even seen the rest of the night. I did hours and hours of paperwork, but yes, I own the hospital.
Okay, what does that look? I mean, how are you? How's the funding working?
That's kind of the thing. Just because I got the hospital back doesn't mean the damage has not been done. Uncle sunk the hospital's funds. And I'll tell you right now, I'm working on some plans, and I actually have to contact some of the doctors in the multiverse, maybe Caliban and Grimm, but I'm going to make it through. But
Okay.
rest assured, I'm not done with Uncle yet.
All right. So real quick, Max, this is really important.
Mm.
The doctor of Albinomics is not a real doctor.
I mean, he is a doctor when it comes to sick beats, but no beats are sick in my hospital.
There. Stick with that. That's great. Also, Aiden Zero might try and convince you he's a surgeon. This is also not true.
Well, I do know which doctors I wish to contact, and I'll get them in time, but I'm now moving from being a pediatrician to being a manager of the hospital, and we're looking to actually open up so we can also bring the wrestlers from the multiverse to get healed there as well.
Sure, that's a noble cause. We always talk about. There's always talk about the local medical facility, and I'm like, wouldn't it be better to bring somebody to a hospital?
And even though this is a bad thing that happened, and we're starting from the bottom, but this is where we're going to turn it around, and we're going to offer our medical services to those who need more than just lacta tanks and a hope.
Very well. All right. Well, the best. Any last words for the Firing Line audience, Max, before we move on with the show?
I am looking forward to this next season of wrestling, but I am coming with a force of 1,000 wrestlers, and they're all going to be healed in my hospital after I win. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Good to talk to you, Max. See you on Saturday. Right. So there you have it. That's
he certainly seems to be leaping in both feet first.
yeah. That in a very Max fashion. That's absolutely true. Sure. You know what? I'm sure this is fine. Everything's fine. Everything's great. And there's paperwork. I hope it was Lawson. He's usually pretty up and up. I still would like to hear if Max had gotten independent counsel to look at the paperwork. You know what? That's a problem for another day. We have other things to look at. Oh, and we are getting on social media where I'm reading that Enraptured Beauty is proud to sponsor 54 surgeons and 69 lacta tanks for Sister Abigail's Children's Hospital. I don't know if that's the name of the hospital yet, Rapture, but good on you as an independent business owner for supporting the Children's Hospital. That's great to hear, ladies and gentlemen. Rapture New Road and supporting, being there for those kids, and which also counts as yet another way that Rapture can be pissing off the beef. So really double win for Rapture.
Yeah.
Oh, and really quick, Maximilian Thunder Thighs forgot to clarify my past my own match. I have not watched any results of Multivania. So, like you said, since he was busy doing paperwork, I guess Max is watching Firing Line to make sure he knows what happened the rest of the night. And let's. And then we're hearing from it's Forrest the Fortress Wade. I will donate my accounting, any accounting help they need. Well, it's always good to have a good accountant working with a hospital. Looks like Max is getting support from his fellow Warzone wrestlers in his endeavors to repair the damage done to the Children's Hospital. That's great. That's way to go, guys. I'm really happy to hear that. I can't wait to hear more about it on Saturday. So with that, let's move on to the next match. And this next match, well, this match is a bit of a crossover match. Again, to set the stage, some months ago at a particular pay-per-view, After having held the Interdimensional Championship for 2 nights, the King of Kings, Earl King West, faced Helixux. He managed to win, to retain the Interdimensional belt, but what he didn't check was the fine print on the Money in the Bank briefcase, which was held by the Citric King. And the Juicy One was able to cash in and become the Interdimensional Champion, which was great. Except that then he was being kind of a jerk to Flashbang about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, there's a little bit of a rotten center to that fruit.
A little sour.
Yeah.
Sour.
So after several qualifiers, it was determined there will be a 3-way dance for the Interdimensional Championship with the Mandalorian Hutch Kale of the cartel and Flashbang's own henshin hero, Brawl Kaiser, taking on the Interdimensional Champion, Citric King. And this is quite the match. You've got the good, the bad, and the orange.
Yeah, you throw that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Brawl Kaiser, who everyone is, as everyone puts it, he is just the purest bean. Yeah, even though he is a hero, it has been stated many times that he must be protected at all costs.
Indeed.
Going against Hutch Kale, who, yes, he's a Mandalorian. And you know what? Often that means some form of honor. On the other hand, he works for Victor Vicious.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I guess there's one in every bunch. And then, you've got the Citric King, who, let's face it, one of the most highly decorated tag stars in MNW history. I believe if we check the record, he has held tag team gold on no less than 6 occasions. Both with his old partner Sir Malarvik in Deus Pulp, and with his friend Helix in Death Juice. But then Hutch Kale's cartel associate, the Mad Jester Fool, comes out and interferes with the match, attacking the Citric King, and this is a no DQ match. And then he super kicks Hutch Kale. He super kicked his own,
and then he started dancing.
Teammate, and then he just started dancing on the outside, distracting the Citric King, allowing the Brawl Kaiser to get his hands on the Juicy One. And Brawl Kaiser, keeping his eye on the prize, gets the 3 count, and thus does Brawl Kaiser become the Interdimensional Champion, the Guardian of the Multiverse. And who better to stand between interdimensional invaders than Brawl Kaiser? Go Brawl Kaiser.
I mean, best bean.
Good
But
hero.
boy.
His heart's in the right place at all times. But you gotta ask, what just happened with the cartel? The Mad Jester Fool is the Flashbang, one half of the Flashbang Tag Team Championship. And Victor Vicious was so happy because his boys got the job done, and suddenly the cartel had gold. And then that happened. I mean, that's at the very least ascension in the rank, if not straight out what's going on. I mean, and we know that both Hutch Kale and Victor Vicious have gone on record. They want to know what's going on, and they are both demanding answers from MJF. So we'll have to see. Also, tweeting out on social media, Sasquatch Wing, Max, if doctors need coffee, this one got plenty to give. Lacta Creamer too. Oh, that's good. Oh, I have never tried. You know, I'm a fan of Squatch Roast.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a cup every morning. And
I guess the lactic creamer is something if the blood rage gets to be a bit
I got to
too
try
much.
that because usually I have my Squatch Roast. I have it about 20 minutes before I take do anything else because you got to let the blood rage wash over you. Although let me tell you, right before your daily workout, oh, that's the stuff. You really hit those weights. I mean, you actually hit those weights. And then you're ready to go for the rest of your day. But I got to try it with lactic cream. That sounds great. That's a great idea, Squatch. And also great way to support the local hospital.
Hey, local hospital, support local business support local hospital.
There you have it.
Win-win.
Now, this next match, and I'll admit, a little bit, I got my days mixed up. I forgot this match was tonight. We gave a little bit of a spoiler on that, but that's okay. People want to see what happened. And then, before we get into that, apparently, from Mr. Butler, good luck finding all those bodies I left behind in the torture chamber. The entrance is hidden and you'll never find it.
Well then.
So wait a minute. Apparently he's, right. There's a medical school attached. I forgot that. When he's talking about the steady cadavers. Okay, that's fair. All right, next. Well, you know what? Earlier in the evening, we saw Doom retain their Trios Championship. Well, somebody has to face them. And Warzone would like a crack at getting those belts back. So this next match will determine who takes on the Trios Champions Doom on a future episode of Friday Night Flashbang. And those teams are Forrest the Fortress Wade, TJ the Mint Gable, and Absolute Washington, the Absolute Units, against Wilson Son of Will, the Doctor of Albinomics, and the Beef, VIP. And, well, I think we know who we're all rooting for here.
The natural heat death of the universe?
No, I love the Absolute Units. They're a great team. I'm looking forward to working with them in the future. I mean, obviously, you'd love to see the units get that opportunity against Doom. But VIP have a personal stake. They have a bit of a heat on this because, according, especially to Wilson, Son of Will, they didn't truly lose. They say that Wilson was about to put down Mad Jack. I know that sounds insane. But the interference of Kane tilted the scales in their favor. And that Doom are not the legitimate champs. So Wilson is looking to get a bit of comeuppance on that. And so, of course, he wants to take it to the units. And we're hearing on social media from Forrest Wade, I take full responsibility for this. The loss was on me. I was thinking with my emotions to my dad. Right. So one thing that happened, Doom comes out, of course.
Speaking of emotions.
Yeah, ringside seat. They just want to see who their contender is going to be. Absolute Washington, of course, gets distracted. And Forrest, as he was pointing out, the members of VIP had gone and trashed his mother's house.
Ooh, you don't do that.
No, and they broke all of her cookware she uses to make the cobbler. They messed with the cobbler.
They messed with the tools for the cobbler. Messed with the cobbles. They
did. That is just. I mean, how dirty can you get? And with all those distractions, Wilson, Son of Will, was able to get a pinfall on TJ Gable. And thus, VIP win the opportunity to try and win those Trios titles back from Doom. And all I got to say is, good luck with that. This is still Doom, guys. Here's a recommendation. As somebody who's worked with Doom plenty of times, has spoken to them on multiple occasions, I'm going to make one suggestion. Don't make it personal. Don't piss them off. Don't go after any parents' house. Don't do any sneak attacks with chairs. Don't just keep it. If you keep it a straight up wrestling match, you'll be fine. But if you cross the line, We've seen what happens.
Wrath incarnate.
Yeah, you want to face the Night Reaper, not the Reaper. You want to face Mad Jack, not the Pumpkin King. And you definitely want to face Michael Macabre, not the Apocalypse Bringer. These are important distinctions that can lead to a long and much healthier life. So I guess what I'm saying in the end, VIP, respect Doom as opponents. Face them as fellow competitors. Or face the consequences. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, that's pretty straightforward.
I was going to say straightforward, yeah.
Yeah, just don't. Just don't. Just don't. All right. With that, now this next matchup, there's been a lot of. Let's put it this way, Pete. The Big Oof Championship scene is healthy and active.
Indeed, very much so.
It's got a lot of people looking for that belt and a lot of people looking for opportunity. And the brass decided the best way to just deal with all of that at Multivania V was to set up an 8-man, I guess because it worked so well the night before for the, Flashbang World Championship. So, anyway, 8-man match for the Big Oof. And those 8 men, well, first off, Ignacio Cervantes, Carcharodon,
Rogue choice.
Sparrow of the Sentinels,
You got a D8? I do. Presenting Dungeons and Destiny.
the mentor of Dungeons and Destiny, Rapture New Road, Glycerius, and it's gotta be Kane,
That's gotta be Kane.
our own Henshin hero, Mega Blitz X, and the Big Oof champion himself, Bart Ender. So here you go. You've got members of Omega Club, Nakama Worldwide, Dungeons and Destiny, Legion, and the Sentinels in this match. And it's just off the hook. I mean, it's not officially declared a showcase match, but all I'll say is
it is a showcase of showcases.
It's a showcase in a way. Let's just say Bart Ender is currently listed as having won a showcase match, but that was in a previous week. I guess the fact that it wasn't declared a showcase match, but either way. So after one elimination, you have Bart working over the Henshin hero, and that's it. Mega Blitz X is out. That's one former Big Oof champion eliminated. Meanwhile, his former teammate in Rhythm and Blues go in and tapping out Ignacio Cervantes. And let's just say this, and then, but let's face it, Bart knows Glycerius better than anyone, and takes out Glycerius. And before you knew it, you're down to 3. Kane, of course, being eliminated earlier, and Bart Ender then taking out Rapture New Road, and it comes down to Bart Ender versus Sparrow, to Nakamura Worldwide versus the Sentinels.
He's looking for that muscle buster neck breaker.
And with one muscle buster neck breaker on the sidekick of Daverman. I guess more partner than sidekick. And with that, Bart Ender retains.
Bart Ender insisted on showing himself as a fighting champion and doing a pretty dang good job so far.
Well, I find it interesting. 2 championships defended at Multivania in 8-man elimination matches. in basically showcase matches. And both champions retained.
Yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, Bart Ender has shown he is a powerful champion. He is not a joke. He is not to be taken lightly. And now, so before we get into our next match, last week we had a audio clip of the night for night 1 of Multivania. Well, it's a new week. It's only fair that we have a clip for night 2. So, ladies and gentlemen, your Multivania 2 audio promo. Here we go.
All right, Malice, let's pack it up. We're heading for Multivania. Got a 5-hour drive ahead of us. Got my internal simulations running on how the match is going to play out. Let's have a quick check. Cyber Star! Yeah, that's gonna happen. Gonna kick his hairy ass again just like I did before. This silence is boring. Hey Malice, let's play something to get us in the mood for kicking ass at Multivania. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Let's try something else. Yeah, no, I don't want humans screeching in my ears for the next decade, thank you. Try something else. I'll put that on my menu list. Let's see what's on the radio instead. Huh? Oh well, there's nothing good to listen to anyway. Tell you what, Malice, I'll give you the last pick. This is gonna be a long drive.
And there you have it.
Joke's on you. I like that song.
I mean, it's a good song. Little overplayed.
Well, yeah.
Well, with that, yep, it's time for a 4-on-4 Tornado Tag Team matchup featuring High Voltage, Leonid Sanchez and Aiden Zero. The main event, Mex.exe, featuring R. Sawyer and Malice. The Murder Cave, featuring Grizzly Adams and Arkolf. And the Four Horsemen. Helix
Now, there's
Sucks
a phrase we haven't said in a while.
and Ramon. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's only 2 of them, but I guess each one's counting as 2 horsemen. Or are they trying to... Wait, they're not trying to... You know what, I'm not going to
Yeah,
speculate.
we don't know if they're recruiting or not, but oh boy.
Hey, you know what? They're on Flashbang. That's Lawson's business. We'll leave it at that. And for now, this match, a lot of issues going on here when you think about it. High Voltage had issues with the mechs, but now they have issue with the Murder Cave after the betrayal of Chaz Lee. Of course, Helix and Ramon both having their issues with Grizzly Adams. And also you've got, just whatever the heck it is that's going on with the Murder Cave. I don't even know. There's a lot of grudges in this match. There's a lot of unresolved issues in this match. Basically, a lot of people wanting to punch each other in the face, although when you think about it, most of them just want to punch Grizzly and Arkolf.
Well, it's an interesting thing because there is so much grudge, let's say, out there, but it's also it's a very different lineup than it has been before. You know, we're seeing, new teams formed, under new names and different, so we're seeing differences in that, but
Yeah, true. Also, again, think about the number of long-timers. Helix, Arkolf, R. Sawyer, Grizzly Adams, a lot of the original roster. But Arkolf, once again, meeting his fate at the hands of Death himself. Yeah, wow. I'm thinking maybe a lot of those guys, especially the ones from Warzone, should be happy. Really happy. These two are on Flashbang right now.
Yep.
And maybe want to hope that there's not going to be more crossovers.
Hey, you never know.
You never know.
And that's something you get to look forward to now.
Yeah.
Well, more so than before.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. I don't know. I haven't actually. I guess I'm having my first booking meeting this week. And by this week, I mean it's tomorrow.
Sure.
So there was something about. I guess they usually do it earlier in the week, but there was something about we want you to be able to go into firing line clean.
I feel like there's several uses of the word clean.
Probably. Well, we have 2 matches left before we are done with Multivania 5, before we can put the night to sleep. The first one, well, there's just a lot going on. I mean, we talk about this a lot. There's things going on. There's titles to be fought, and we have 2 titles left to cover. The first of which being the second most prestigious title on Warzone, and that is the Nexus Titan Championship. And the contender for this match is the one, the only Vinsmoke, a man who had to go through 2 different matches to earn this right, taking on the champion himself, the Terror Angel, Fierce Strikes. Now, there was a little controversy, Pete, coming into this, because originally there was a 4-way dance to win this opportunity that was won by Lady Boots. But then it was revealed that because she had attacked Kelly to get that spot, that the brass voided that. And in the rematch, Vinsmoke won, while the Lady Boots, while given a chance to qualify, she had to beat Fierce Strikes directly and didn't. The controversy is there's a lot of people saying that Lady Boots was cheated out of her opportunity.
That is true. There have been some concerns being levied.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying, yeah, she deserved the opportunity. She should have been given a chance to be in this match, and she was given a chance to be in this match. But yeah, there's a lot of talk. Now, of course, we know from the pre-show of day one, Lady Boots and Carnival have earned a shot at the Toxic Wastelanders for the tag team titles. So I guess we'll have to get that settled first. In the meantime, Vinsmoke taking on and getting one of his patented super kicks on the Terror Angel, going for that Nexus Titan Championship, and he wins it. Vinsmoke Sanjay wins the Nexus Titan Championship. And then, after that brutal match against Fierce Strikes, Sir Uncle Dunk cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase. And thus, we learned, a lot of people were pointing out then, Uncle Dunk didn't put in a lot of effort in that.
Yeah, he kind of got eliminated kind of early on in that match.
Very, very early on. And you realize, he was making people focus on that and not remember he had the briefcase.
I mean, let's think about the fact that he probably didn't really care if he lost the hospital. It's not like he would care about the hospital or anybody in it.
And let's also remember, there is a long and bitter history between Sir Uncle Dunk and Vinsmoke. On so many levels, for so many reasons. And thus, does Vinsmoke only get to taste the sweet victory of holding that belt for mere minutes? And then Uncle Dunk sweeps it out from under him. And thus, Sir Uncle Dunk is your Nexus Titan champion. Mr. Blood Money in the Bank has won. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's such an emotional moment. We now have on the phone with us the man who held that belt for only a few moments, Vinsmoke.
Evening, Jerry.
So, Vinsmoke, we don't have a lot of time because we got to finish up the show, but obviously, there's no other way to put it. You were robbed.
I was robbed. I've been robbed so much nowadays, it seems. Not once with Chesley, but twice now with Uncle Dunk. Jerry, I'm going to ask you a question.
All right.
Is there a word beyond infuriated? Because I'm at that point now.
Having drunk enough Squatch Roast coffee, blood rage comes to mind?
That would be about right, wouldn't it?
So I guess it's fair to say where your focus is right now, Vinsmoke. You're clearly wanting to get even with Uncle. What's the immediate plan?
My immediate plan is a very simple. Find Uncle Dunk and kick his teeth.
Fair enough. Now, Vin, and I know this is a sensitive subject, but there's a word that's been starting to be bandied about since you came back, and I don't think it's a word we can ignore. And that word is cursed. Do you feel like you've been cursed?
Well, Doc, it seems I've been finding a new knife in my back since I got it. Everyone seems to be thinking that they can be the one to get one over me. I may be cursed. That's fine. But what more is than a curse than an advantage for some people?
Fair enough. Well, any last words before we move on with the evening, Vinsmoke?
I'll let you know this. I am no longer going to be what people think is nice. I'm going to air my grievances next time on MNW. Promo or no promo. I'm going to figure out what's been happening. I'm going to figure out why everybody seems it's fine to go after me. And I'm going to be the one to take down both Chesley and Uncle Dunk.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Thank you very much, Vinsmoke, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Have a nice day.
And tweeting on social media from Maximilian Thunderthighs. So I was used by Uncle Dunk, and you put me through hell. Well then, Nexus Titan, this is not over. Vinsmoke, we have a common enemy. Unless you want to cut in line to Uncle Dunk, then you will face max damage. Oh, okay. So that's that. I guess that's one of the problems when several people hate the same person. Sometimes,
the lines start getting long.
Well, I've seen Earl King West play this to his advantage before. So many people hate him, and so he would make them fight each other to get to him and thus thin out his own enemies, get them to do his dirty work for them. So now it looks like Uncle Dunk's taking a page from the Earl King's, possibly from the Earl King's book. That's matters we can look into more closely on Saturday. Right now we have one last match to go through, Pete.
One more.
Speaking of matches with so much going on.
Main event, night 2.
Main event, night 2, MNW World Heavyweight Championship. Zacho Duo, Chaz Lee, Justice Jake. Chaz Lee, longtime member of High Voltage, a past variant of the creator of Zacho Duo. And while Zacho had been going after his title shots and his opportunities, Chaz Lee in disguise had been attacking him and others, setting up confusion and setting up the birth of the Murder Cave, as well as his own ascension to the title, screwing Zacho and betraying High Voltage. Thus, we have this match. Two men wanting revenge against Chaz Lee for various reasons.
Representing High Voltage,
Justice Jake, former world heavyweight champion, going after his longtime tag partner. Zacho Duo going against a man who is very much like his father. And then Chaz Lee showing a new attitude, maybe showing his real attitude for the first time. High Voltage versus Meme versus the Murder Cave. And we are tweeting out on social media, Mr. Butler, these guys assume there's only one line to worry about when there's a 6-foot-tall bouncer at the door. Fair. And here we have
To
it.
be fair, in wrestling, 6 foot is kind of...
It's about average. So here you have it. Chaz Lee, Zacho Duo, Justice Jake. Now, Zacho, of course, having his own issues with High Voltage from the time that they were teaming with Chaz Lee, but him pointing out all of the rotten things and having issues with Chaz. And now, on a lot of levels, Zacho Duo proven right. I mean, everything Zacho said, it turned out to be true. Surprised that there hasn't been a hashtag Zacho was right going around. And here he is, genetic reset on Justice Jake. Because again, in a match like this, Chaz doesn't need to be involved in the decision to lose the belt. On the other hand, I think it would be very satisfying for Zacho Duo to beat this variant of his father. But as has been stated many times, he may be a variation. He is not Chaz's father. And then Jake.
And while we have had that clarification, let's also note that to some degree, there's been a large amount of vindication for Zacho Duo.
Yes, absolutely. And now we end up here. And you've got Justice Jake, who, ever since he lost his belt, he's been looking for some redemption, especially the way he lost it to the Faces of Fear and XR Kun. Speaking of somebody else screwed over by the Murder Cave. I mean, from night one, did you ever expect to be cheering for XR Kun?
No, I did not.
Yeah, and yet here we are. And red comet falls later. 1, 2, 3, and there he has it. Zacho Duo has climbed the mountain. He's gotten retribution against Chaz Lee. He's sent a message.
Retribution, vindication, validation.
and basically right where he's said he's belonged the whole time. And the fact that after so much road and so much has happened, for the fans to be cheering him in his victory. He is, it's like the multiverse has come full circle for Zacko Duo, full circle for issues he has been facing since the Inquisition was here.
Yep.
And that, you know, it's you know, gotta feel good. I don't care if you're you know, dealing with organic emotions or electronic ones. Feelings are feelings, and his have to be on top of the world as you see him flexing up in front of that crowd. So I guess the question's going to be, he's got his vindication, he's got his gold, he's faced his demons. What's next for
Well, and I see it in chat, and this brings up an interesting question: will this be enough? Will he finally feel that he has gotten what he wants, that he has gotten what he deserves, or are we going to see him find something else that he feels deserves?
I guess the question is he still the cursed future or not?
We shall see.
And tweeting on social media, truly a great win for Zacko Duo. Now let's see if he keeps his promise he made to the fans. Tweets out Maximilian Thunderthighs. And with that, and as we said last week, although it is a firing line tradition to have a moment of the night, when you have a show like Multivania, it would be disingenuous to try and pick a single moment. Multivania is almost nothing but big moments. And so we're just going to say it was a great show and a great Multivania experience. And now we draw the Multivania curtain closed for another year. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, come November, it will be time for Nexus nominations. And as we saw last year, the Nexus were heavily weighted towards Multivania matches. So be thinking now about what moments from Multivania or before or yet to come this year that you want to nominate for the Nexus when they come around again. Because so much is happening and so much is yet to happen. We really feels like we're entering a new era as we do every Multivania. It's done, and now it's time to go, what next? So with that stated, we'll see you tomorrow night for Friday Night Flashbang and Saturday afternoon for MNW Warzone. And then right back here next Thursday for Firing Line. Remember that 24 hours after each show, you can find them up on the MNW YouTube channel. If you want to go revisit those great matches we looked tonight in full, you can go there and find them. And with that, there's nothing else to do but bring the evening to a close. So, ladies and gentlemen, for Pete McPherson, I'm Jerry Aldini. Good night.
Viewers, hear the roar of Sasquatch Wing. What half of O-Rods? Want more Multiverse Nexus Wrestling? Want more Raphael Simpson and Sasquatch Wing? Want more All-Odds? Then look below video. Like, share, comment, subscribe, ring little bell and square, and watch more of MNW on this channel.